Hi Sarasana Bee Cave. It's good to talk to you guys. Welcome to my home. Today I'll be showing you just a couple of really simple at-home self-massage techniques. I'm going to be moving my camera around as needed, and this is all a little improvisational, so just bear with me. The main thing I'm going to talk you through today is full body tennis ball massage, which is something that when I was in my collegiate dance program, they would take us through during the intense parts of our rehearsal seasons, and you can make it last an hour or longer if you're kind of really getting after those tight spots. And so you'll need 2 tennis balls and a sock, but we'll start with 1 tennis ball. And I'm not gonna take us through an hour today, but I am gonna show you just what you can do for certain areas of the body and how to properly get pressure. And so we can start with the arms, the undersides of the forearms. You can start either up top or at the base and place your other arm on top to give yourself some good pressure, and you can just sit into that. You're going to sense right away what areas are tight, what areas are not so much, and just give your body time to release the tension. And you can slowly move up the arm and hit different spots. So you can do that up the entire forearm. The top of the forearm is a little different. That's going to be more like manual pressure. And so taking the tennis ball in your other hand, you can just simply press. I'm not super sensitive in this part of my body, so I don't feel it quite as much. But just settle in where it's needed. Well, it's starting to get tight for me. Again, if you're really going for deep release, you could stay in these areas for moments at a time. A general guideline, rule of thumb, is to avoid bony areas and avoid rolling over joints. So as I get to the top of the arm, I'm not going to settle any weight into my elbow. Let's see, we can get kind of the underside of the upper arm. I'm using a coffee table, so that's what I'm sitting on the floor, and this is giving me good leverage. And again, you can just stick the tennis ball below your arm. Body weight is enough here. This is intense for me. Again, just setting it as needed. Upper side is going to be more, again, manual. So whatever you're finding. It's a bit of a scavenger hunt. Now it's possible to get into the deltoids, which is like the cap sleeve muscle of the arm. Let me show you. My yogis are going to be a little familiar with this, and I'm on my knees, and we've got one arm placed into the floor. The other arm is going to thread under, our classic thread through stretch. I can take the tennis ball and place it under the deltoid area, and just so you can see, just giving weight. That's pretty intense for me. So there you have some basic arm options. Now I'm going to show you what you can do to get into your feet and legs a little. So I'm sure you've done this before, most likely. Rolling that tennis ball under the bottoms of the feet. You can do this seated. You can do this while standing and give yourself more weight into the ball. And this is going to release some of the fascia, the connective tissue that's on the underside of the foot. Great if you've got plantar fasciitis. And then you can transition into the calf. And my calves are pretty sensitive, so it does not take any more than this for me to feel what we're doing. You can kind of roll side to side, explore what are the tightest areas. And again, you can gradually move up the whole calf until you get into the hamstring. And this one is a little tricky just because it's hard to give weight into the hamstring. So something you can do to help is to cross the other leg over and lean in. Like you can put some of your weight into your hands and press yourself into that hamstring. You can travel all up the hamstring until you get into the glute. Again, avoiding any bony areas. I feel like I could probably sit in this spot just for 2 minutes. It's pretty tight. So you can use that regimen so far for both arms, both legs, and now I'll show you what you can do for your back along the spine. So I'm going to take the 2 tennis balls, got my sock, and what I'm going to do is place both of them in the sock. And once you've done that, you can tie it off to keep them tight against each other. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I can travel through the entire spine, and I'm going to start from kind of the base. If it feels safe to you, you can place the tennis balls under, like, right at the sacrum, kind of right at the very base of your lower back, provided there's no sharp pain there. If you need a little more leverage, you can bring your knees into your chest, which will give you more weight. And then you can begin to move that sock up to higher parts of the spine. As you move up, there will be more weight so that you won't have to lift your legs. And you can take this all the way up to the neck. The purpose is that the shape that this makes is going to target the muscles on either side of the spine, the paraspinals, but it's still going to protect the actual spine, which you never want to put pressure on. Now the curvature in your neck isn't going to really allow for effective pressure. Let's see what I mean by this. So if I'm laying down and trying to put this in this spot along my neck, I'm not going to feel it just because there's a curvature in my neck. But something that I can do is lay with the sock and the tennis balls kind of at the base of my skull. You've got a ridge kind of just at the very top of the neck, base of the skull. And for my people who've got eye strain, you know, we're all watching a little bit more Netflix these days, so if you're feeling like you've got eye strain, actually your optic nerves travel back, and they actually have to do with the muscles at the base of the skull. So resting that tennis ball in those areas will actually help with relief through the eyes. And a few more things. That kind of concludes the tennis ball portion of self-massage for today. But I'll show you a couple more tricks. first is for my people who have kind of hip pain, and this is extremely simple, very basic, but you can just bring your knees up and give all the weight of your legs into your hands. So if you didn't hold your legs, they would like fall to the side. So all your weight is here. And then just gently moving your legs like this. You can do circles. You can do one leg at a time, both legs at a time. And what this is going to do is introduce synovial fluid to the top of the femur, the hip joints. And this very passive, gentle motion brings in the synovial fluid, which lubricates all of our joints and contains all the nutrients to keep those joints healthy and happy. And that gentle movement actually feels surprisingly good. It's my go-to when I've been doing hard workouts. And then lastly, you might not know that deep breathing is self-massage, but it is. So kind of whatever your days are looking like, do not forget your deep breathing. Counting is good. 5 counts in, 5 counts out, whatever pattern you have for yourself. And why this is self-massage is because deep, slow breathing expands the diaphragm, and there's a nerve that travels through the body called the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve has much to do with a feeling of well-being. It counteracts anxiety when this nerve is stimulated. And so actually when your diaphragm is expanding in that way with deep breathing, it is massaging the vagus nerve, and that's why deep breathing is recommended across so many different kinds of body practices. So take care of yourselves, have fun with some of these tips and tricks, and hope you guys are taking care.